had a use for, now she'd reached the marriageable age of 10 and 2. Thus Walter's visit to King John was twofold: revenge for that long-ago slight when he had been overlooked as a suitor for Anne, and to finally wrest her property and more from Shefford by marrying Clare to Shefford's only son and heir. It was a brilliant plan, and the time for it was ideal. Rumors were flying that John was soon going to make another attempt to seize the Angevin lands he had lost so long ago, and Walter had a carrot to dangle in front of John, if only he could lay the plan before him. Finally the door to John's chamber opened, and Chester, one of the few earls whom John still trusted completely, ushered Walter in. He made haste to kneel before the king, was impatiently waved to his feet. The chamber was not empty, as Walter had hoped. Isabel, John's wife, was there, with one of her ladies-in-waiting. Walter had never seen the Queen this close before, and spent several bemused moments in awe when he did glance at her. Verily, the rumors of her were indeed true. If she was not the most beautiful woman in the world, she was surely the most beautiful in England. John was more than twice her age. He had married Isabel when she was just 10 and 2. And although that was an age to marry, most nobles who took brides that young chose to wait a few years before they actually consummated the marriages. Not so John, for Isabel had been ripe for her age, and too beautiful to resist for a man whose wenching had been notorious prior to this marriage. Not as tall as his brother Richard, but still handsome at 26, John was the dark one of the family, with black hair now liberally laced with grey, and his father's green eyes and somewhat stocky build. John smiled indulgently when he noted the direction of Walter's gaze and his incredulity, a reaction he was most used to and pleased with. His young wife's beauty did him proud, but his smile was brief, the hour late, and he did not recognize Walter, had only been told by his clerk that one of his barons had urgent news for him. So his question was bald and to the point. "Do I know you?" Walter blushed to have been distracted from his cause for even a few moments. "Nay, your grace, we have never met, for 'tis rarely I come to court. I am Walter de Roten. I hold a small keep from the Earl of Pembroke." "Then mayhap your news should have been given to Pembroke, who could have relayed it to me." "'Tis not of a nature to entrust to any other, my lord, and 'tis not exactly news," Walter was forced to admit. "I knew no other way to explain to your clerk when he did ask me for the reason I was here." John was piqued by the cryptic reply. He was himself a man who dealt much in subtleties and innuendos. "Not news, but something I should know, and not entrusted even to your liege lord?" John smiled now. "Verily, keep me in suspense no longer." "If we could speak in privacy," Walter whispered, again looking toward the Queen. John made a moue, but still directed Walter toward the window seat on the far side of the room from the ladies. He spoke of many things with his lovely young wife, but he allowed some things were best not discussed with a woman known to love gossip. John carried a glass of wine with him. He had not offered Walter the same, and his impatience was palpable. Walter got right to the point as soon as they sat facing each other in the deep window embrasure. "You are likely aware of the betrothal contracted years ago with your brother Richard's blessing of Shefford's heir and the Crispin girl?" "Aye, I believe I have heard mention of it ere now. A match foolishly made, due more to friendship than gain." "Not exactly, your grace," Walter said carefully. "Mayhap you are not aware, then, that Nigel Crispin returned from the Holy Land with a veritable fortune, and a good portion of it comes with the bride to the marriage." "A fortune?" John's interest was thoroughly aroused now. He had always lacked the funds to run his kingdom properly, since Richard had drained the realm coffers for his bloody crusading. But a fortune to a minor baron, such as Walter, likely would not be anywhere near a fortune a king would take note of. So he wanted clarified. "What mean you, a fortune? A few 100 marks and some gold cups?" "Nay, your grace, more like a king's ransom several times over." John shot to his feet.